not know. The mayor's family had a death of his sister a couple of weeks ago. She was in Texas and came back today. The family did, and they had funeral service this morning at St. John's Lutheran. So I'd just like to take a moment to express our condolences and just pause for a few seconds in honor of Diane, your sister and sister-in-law. So if you will, just a moment, please. Thank you very much. City Council, please come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Hensley.
Here.
Hotteshaw.
Here.
Rogers.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
Whitaker.
Here.
Wright.
Here.
Godwin.
Here.
If you will, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. See. Approval of the minutes. You all received copies of what? The special and the regular meeting. They were emailed. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, they will stand approved as presented. Approval of the current financial report. You received copies of that as well. Any questions for the auditor or comments or a motion to approve?
So moved to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to approve the current financial report from the auditor's office. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley.
Yes.
Hotteshaw.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Next, approval of the agenda. The only thing that I have is the need for an executive session. Under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G.1, which is personnel, which is to read all this litany of stuff here. To consider appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, and/or compensation of a public employee or official, et cetera, et cetera. And item number 3, which is conference with an attorney of threatening or pending litigation. Other than that, that's all I have.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as amended. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Hensley.
Yes.
Hotteshaw.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Public hearing. We have a couple scheduled for this evening. We'll take those two first. First is the proposed 2020 budget that has to be approved by this council to be sent to the county, what's it called? Review. Pardon?
The Dark County Board of Revision.
Okay.
Dark County.
Okay.
Dark County Auditor.
That Dark County Auditor, they have to approve it. So at this time, anyone wishing to speak to the proposal or question the budget or anything, I think it's been available online or wherever we put all of those things in the office, et cetera. Any comments or questions from anyone? Because the council committee has reviewed it and recommended that it go to public hearing. So any comments from the auditor?
No, we have a balanced budget.
Okay, Chairman of the Finance Committee?
I recommend we approve it.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience want to, one way or the other? Seeing nothing, we will declare that portion of the public hearing closed. And we need a motion to send that on to the county. Okay. So you will move that, Mr. Hensley moves that we send the proposed 2020 budget to the county review board. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Hensley.
Yes.
Hotteshaw.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we have another request from Krista Hutchison, Bloomingdale, regarding outdoor dining in downtown Greenville.
I'm actually going to take care of it.
Okay,
All right. Cassie Campbell, managing partner with the Merchant House, 406 South Broadway. All right, I'm here tonight to discuss how Greenville can help us continue to grow our business. As many of you know, the Merchant House has been in business for just over 3 years, and we've had very great successes. Not only have we continued to grow sales every year, but we've also won Best Casual Dining in Ohio Magazine, not once, but twice, as well as having several mentions in Dayton Daily News, features in Ohio Magazine, several travel blogs, and many more. We have regular guests that travel over an hour to dine with us regularly. We believe our next step in growing our business and investing here in Greenville is to offer outdoor dining, and our guests agree. I have here our renderings, as well as an email from Jason Duff. If you want to pass those for me. Speaking to the successes of outdoor dining at 600, one of Bellefontain's restaurants. The patio drawings are similar to theirs, which have proven to be safe, profitable, and beautiful. Not only will this investment be an attractive addition to downtown Greenville, but it will bring additional revenue. We are estimating needing to hire an additional 25% in staffing and expecting the patio to help increase sales by upwards of 20%, undoubtedly a huge figure for us. We're happy to share that our fellow business owners are also excited, including our next door neighbor and building owner, Daniel Jones. Today we would like to ask for the city's continued support in our business. With the paver replacement project soon underway, we feel this would be a great time to open up discussions. Having already had very positive and supportive meetings with the administrative team, we understand the next steps are to begin to establish the lease agreement on the right-of-way, as well as the assessment on concrete work and what that would look like. So thank you very much. I'd like to go ahead and answer any questions.
How many parking places would they lose?
3 to 4. But from my understanding, the planning and zoning is that the parking lots that are going to be repaved and restriped are actually going to give us a net gain of 18 spaces. So I think the 3 to 4 is not as big a deal as it might seem.
I agree.
Are you talking about the parking lots in close proximity or the parking lots?
In general, but I'm also under the understanding that the parking lot closest to us behind Bach Rock is going to be one that gains some of the most.
So, Mr. Safety Service Director, we have things in the works to repave all the parking lots in Greenville?
That was a part of our maintenance paving contract for this year.
Okay.
And what she's alluding to on 3rd Street, we're passing it around, take a look at it. Been at an existing of 47 spaces, and with restriping and changing the traffic pattern a little bit, we can increase that to 55 parking spots. So that would be a gain of 80. And then on the, what we call the bistro lot, we had 39, and we're looking to go to 44. On the Palace, turn it the right way, we have a gain of basically 1 spot. So,
Is the Palace lot a city lot?
well, we call it the Palace lot. The media lot right behind the Palace is privately owned.
Okay.
And then the next,
The one over.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
or closest to the
Like half.
house, that's ours.
Okay.
It's the city lot.
So the red lines, is that going to be curbing all the way out there?
Correct.
Then pavers where the trees are planted?
I believe so, yeah.
And the same way up here? Okay.
Yeah.
I can see. So you're going to lose all the parking all the way from the corner up to the tree in front of the,
There's actually not parking all the way to the corner. That's cut in there, so
There's no parking there right now.
But the ingress and egress in and out of the facility would move to the front where people could step right off into the street from that entranceway, that the way you have it, rather than coming off the sidewalk.
no, I want to make sure I'm understanding your question correctly. The sidewalk wraps all the way around, and then there's an additional, I think it's 3 to 4 feet or something like that beyond.
What I'm saying is that the sidewalk, then the street.
Correct.
Okay, so if you walked out of your place and stepped on the sidewalk, you could step right into the street.
No, you would step onto X amount of feet
The sidewalk.
of sidewalk.
Well, there's a sidewalk, that's what I'm saying, but the sidewalk is right out into the lane of traffic.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, not into the lane of traffic. Would you step onto the street? Yes. You would step into what is currently the end of the existing parking zone.
But I'm saying then off the sidewalk is right into the major
It is-
lane of
It
traffic.
would be on
which
the
are-
pavement, correct?
How many state and US routes go up
There's-
and down Broadway?
There is still a lot at several feet off of the sidewalk before the lane of traffic. This is the exact same setup as they have at 600 downtown, which that patio has been going for couple years now, and they've found to have no issues with that. I don't know if anybody who was on that trip with us to Bow Fountain wants to speak to that. I know
How
Mayor
wide is the
Ewing.
lane of travel left there? Do you know? These drawings?
Tell ya.
That looks to be pretty well lit around,
Correct.
so if it's, dark, she'll see the sidewalk clearly.
Correct.
In this drawing you have, it's brick pavers. And I know the city, we just approved a thing to take all the brick pavers out, stamp concrete in.
Sure. Stamped concrete, I believe, is what we are going with. There's certainly some room for adjustments on the renderings.
Yeah.
Very attractive.
The
Thank you.
ends would be at a diagonal.
Correct.
Okay.
The drawings we have here looks very nice.
Thank you.
Have you got any cost estimate to what this is gonna cost?
Very, very rough estimate. In total, 15 to 20. But Mr. Garrison, what was we talked about concrete itself. I believe that was roughly 5, maybe.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, it was gonna be, I believe, 10,000 for all of the concrete
Okay.
work.
And 5 to 10 for the dressing it up.
This looks good in the winter, or the summertime. What about in the wintertime when the state comes through, or city comes through, plow snow?
We have to shovel it now.
Well, it's gonna be out there in an enclosed area now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we certainly can pay somebody to shovel it or do it. I mean,
So the tables,
I don't think that's a reason not to have it for the summer.
yeah, but the tables and umbrellas won't be out there in the.
Correct. Correct.
So, Mr. Garrison, if this is done basically you're talking the city right away, right?
That's what they're proposing, yes.
Okay. What is the other involvement does the city have?
Well, their proposal to city council would be in conjunction with the sidewalk project that we're going to have coming up, and I have our totals on that because we're at this time, we're ready to move forward with bidding that project. Their proposal is to not hold that project, but in conjunction with that project, have our engineers design to city specs what this would take, curb, a barrier curb with a monopore sidewalk, and do that as a part of our paver project. And we would just be responsible for the curb and the flat work. And then it would be up to business owner to come back and put up the fence railings, make it look pretty above grade.
Would be the city's cost to do the sidewalks and stuff?
The city would initially do it as part of the project. The proposal, if you caught that, was she is asking for city council then to assess her that cost over a period of time.
Now, all the sidewalks downtown that is getting work done, that's not assessed back to the property owners?
No,
Not like the residential
No.
areas?
no. Because of how that project was done many years ago, the city pretty much owns those sidewalks.
I think it's very attractive, but I would be concerned about the sidewalk coming out to the road so close to the cars. Beautiful concept.
If it would be helpful, I'm sure I could get more pictures or video or anything supporting the safety aspect of it from 600, as it's, again, a mock-up directly of what they have.
I think this is something that I'd like to assign to the safety committee for their review, since it does involve the sidewalk issues and a safety issue, which kind of brought up. These folks did come to the administrative team meeting the other morning. No guarantees were made, or other than just the fact that if they want to come to council and present it, they could, so that's why they're here this evening. So I would like to assign that to the safety committee with, what about, what are we looking at here, time-wise? Probably, Mr. Garrison, in your report, you're going to talk about the Broadway project.
I am.
How we can kind of fit in. What's the proposed date of that you have?
We don't, I mean, we need to start the bid process, which takes approximately a month
Okay.
from the time we start till we can open bids.
So if we can have, say, something about the first meeting in September? Would that fit in with that?
And I would say we need to be earlier if we want to do
Earlier?
the work this year.
Okay, well, let's go back to second meeting in August.
And if we have it before that, we
Yeah,
can present it.
yeah, if the committee has the information before that, they're more than welcome to present it. Okay?
And then,
Right.
can I just ask for clarification purposes, because probably be a part of that, but what will the specific committee assignment, will it include like assessment, design, city involvement, terms?
Yeah, they'll work with, I would ask the safety committee to work with you and the law director on however that fits together to make sure it's all legally and financially
Okay.
doable. Okay?
All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to address council may do so at this time. Please step to the microphone, give your name and address, and state your case. Okay, seeing no one, we will move the agenda. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I think it looks great. I like this, it's kind of exciting to see something happen like this. It's one of the other things I think we brought up at the morning meeting a week or so ago was there's possibility of some economic benefit here as far as, hiring more people and more tax money coming in. So it's be a good benefit to everybody. So looks great, and thanks for coming. That's really cool. The other thing I got real quick is, I don't know if you got all these. I thought maybe you got it by email. Stuff a bus coming up. Down mayor's office, Nancy always has a box for everybody to contribute. If anybody would like to, I know the city always makes a good showing on gathering up a lot of things for the kids that need it and distributing it through United Way. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Safety Service Director, Mr. Garrison.
I was,
Fireworks are coming. Imagine that. Well, yeah, everything's going good. It's all set up. Same company we've had forever. Guy named Todd Undrist is the one that is charged of shooting them off. High-Tech Special Effects Company has done it. This will be the third year. And I told them before that we'll probably do some bidding again next year. But right now, it's all set up, ready to go for Saturday at dusk, which is the 6th. It's after the 4th. So on Saturday the 6th, so at dusk, at the fairgrounds, will be the fireworks display. So thanks for reminding me. Does anybody have any questions on that? The past has been really great and runs smooth, so.
How's the best way to access the parking area, et cetera, et cetera?
I want to cover that.
Okay.
He was ready.
Now you're finished. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Garrison.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Also, to piggyback a little bit on what the mayor had to say about the fireworks, I believe early in the afternoon, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure it's around 4 to 6 o'clock in the evening, EUM Church will be holding what's called Family Fest, and I believe this will be their third year to have that activity out at the fairgrounds in conjunction with the city fireworks program. And that'll be an opportunity for folks with their families to come out, and there'll be games, activities. I just read something today where they're actually going to provide some sort of a meal for everyone that chooses to attend, and then there'll also be a worship service that evening and lots of music. So just a great time for the families to have them go out and have that evening on Saturday night. So we look forward to that. And then to answer your question about traffic, I'm going to go through this quickly. We have this out on our Facebook page and have done a press release to the various media outlets, but I'll try to summarize this the best I can. When entering the fairground, the gates 1, 2, 5, and 6 will be open. So that's the 2 gates off of Schweitzer Street, the gate off of Eitzen Road, and then the 1 gate off of 121 that's closest to the horse barns. That's gate 6. So that's how you're going to enter the fairgrounds for the fireworks. When you get ready to leave, as you would exit gate 1, which would be closest to Eikenberry's, you will only be able to turn south or to go across the street and go out Birch Street. There'll be no left turn back into town. At gate 2, at Schweitzer and Fair, we'll have an individual there controlling the traffic signal. So that will control the traffic leaving gate 2. And then gate 5 off of 121, it's a right turn only. So if you park out by the horse barns, you're only going to be able to make a right turn back into town. And then if you choose to park in the big lot out off of Eitzen Road at gate 6, you will be able to turn east or west at that point to go back into Schweitzer Street or to go down to 121. I do know that last year we had a great attendance that chose to set in off of gate 6. Would just ask everybody to be patient and not expect to leave as soon as the fireworks are over, because the traffic was a little bit congested. But I would tell you that is the best seat in the house if you can come in and choose to sit there off of gate 6 or right off of gate 5. Those are the best seats in the house. Come early and enjoy all the activities that will be going on out there that evening. So any questions on the fireworks parking? And again, as I said, there's a diagram, and all that verbiage is on our Facebook page for folks to review. Would like to have a discussion this evening about some upcoming projects and upcoming grant opportunity, and call your attention to the large piece of paper that I handed you this evening. As we've had many meetings discussing city streets and city infrastructure, you've heard us repeat over time the same plan over and over. A lot of that has come to fruition with 4 Schweitzer Street, now North Broadway. We're right in the middle of the construction process. Next year, in year 2020, ODOT will be completing what we call our urban paving program, where they will be paving from the traffic circle all the way out to US, underneath 127 as it turns into 36. So that'll be a large paving job. We're completing the sidewalk project on South Broadway this year. A lot of the side streets as well, off of Broadway, in conjunction with the paving, to bring this process, as we will, to fruition. And the next step in the infrastructure process is to address Ohio Street. This year, as you're well aware, we are reconstructing with the full depth reclamation South Ohio Street. So that will be from Sater to Martin. As I just said, we're going to have the urban paving, which will get the Martin Street intersection of Martin and Ohio. The next step would be to complete that area between 4th Street and Martin Street. However, that is a very large project, and we're probably, to do all of the infrastructure that needs to be done, we're looking at a project that's well over $5 million. That's a lot too much to bite off at any one given time. So what we would like to present this evening is the first phase. And that first phase of Ohio Street would be from Martin to the other side of the bridge. What this will allow us to do is continue the bike path. There's been a lot of talk about the bike path. We've made a lot of improvements. Part of the reason of the road, the reason for the road widening on South Ohio is to continue the bike path into town. Now we need to get it up to Bish Park. The project in question right now that we're discussing this evening, that would get an asphalt path on the north side of the bridge all the way up to Bish Park in the right-of-way. So that would finish that portion. This project also has the parameter to do what we call a road diet on the bridge, where we would widen the 2-foot sidewalk. I don't know if you've ever noticed Ohio Street Bridge, but it has a very narrow sidewalk. We would widen that to, I believe, 4 to 5 feet on either side to allow for bike and pedestrian traffic to safely cross that bridge. We've had numerous conversations with Jim Serber and with our city engineer on how that work should be completed, and that it is a feasible portion of the project. And then from the bridge up to Martin Street would be combined sidewalk and bike path. And then the road would be totally reconstructed from Martin Street down to the bridge. And then the last portion of this project that is significant is the 16-inch water line. When the city completed the project at Ohio and East Main Street, and we did that project in conjunction with the school, we signed a change order with Broomball Construction to take that 16-inch water line and get it down to 4th Street, with the understanding that over time we would get that water line all the way down to the intersection of Martin. And by making that loop with the large water line, what that will allow for is better water flow to the industrial park in the event that we would have, say, the South Tower down for maintenance, or a maintenance issue with South Tower that it would need to be shut down for an indefinite period of time. By having that large water line, we can increase the flow to the south end of town with the North Tower. So that would be a huge benefit to serving the south part of the city. So what we are looking at this evening, if you want to refer to the paper in front of you, is a project with engineering that would cost $1,676,403.50. And then you can see the itemized breakdown between roadway cost, bike path costs, waterworks cost, storm sewer, and then the sanitary sewer. Now, the sanitary sewer, this would involve all of the sanitary sewer from Martin Street all the way up to 4th. And we would do this project in conjunction with our relining project that we've been conducting every year out of the wastewater department. However, we can use all of that enterprise money as leverage money to Ohio Public Works, and that's where I'm going to call your attention to the last 5 numbers at the bottom of the page. Would show you how we would propose to pay the $1.6 million. $800,000 of that would be grant. The water fund would see $334,000, sanitary $368,000, storm $84,000, and CIP $89,805 to come up with that $1,676,403.50. So we are able to leverage a lot of our enterprise money to be able to come up with that $800,000 grant from Ohio Public Works. Preliminary scoring gets us at the low 80s, high 70s to low 80s, which is good. I believe that we would need the county to find favor with our project and acquire a few more priority points from them to make the project even more attractive when it goes to the district level. But as you can see, it's it's a project where we could reduce half of its costs using grant money, so it makes it somewhat attractive. So where we are at is the next step would be, if you find favor with this project and what I've set forth tonight, I would like to present legislation that would allow us to move forward with that grant process. And that grant needs to be submitted around the 1st of August. So,
This project is contingent upon the grant?
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
What's the cost of the grant? To get it written up and
There will be no cost from Choice One to write the grant.
they're gonna do it for free?
Correct.
Does this include upgrading the traffic also?
That will be that will be a CIP request for 2020.
Which the one at Martin, Ohio?
Yes.
How does it, what is the impact upon the water and the sanitary fund? So what would be the balance left in those funds?
I know that the sanitary or wastewater treatment plant fund is fairly healthy, and this would be a very small portion of what they have as a carryover balance. I would tell you, and as we've continued to talk, the water fund is, as we do these projects, the water fund surplus is dwindling very quickly. But if we do nothing, we're not replacing water line each year. So, and I would also say that in the very near future, we would need to take a hard look at our water rates to continue to be able to do these infrastructure type projects.
When you first started talking, you talked about doing this in phases, and then, so this would be phase one. What would be phase two, phase three? I mean, how far would it?
Well,
would it complete?
the next phase is $2.5 million. So to complete that, do you look at a combination of, it's whatever the council at the time. So the way we would propose financing or grant is using the Ohio Public Works program. And the way the county engineer has set that program up is that every other funding cycle, he is allowing the villages and the city to apply for funding. On the off year, he is allowing townships to apply for a 50-50 match. So what that means is if the townships want to do paving, if they're willing to contribute $100,000, he will try to get them $200,000 or $100,000 worth of grant money so they can do $200,000 worth of paving. But to try to make it equally fair for all government entities in the county, that's the way that we're set up. So that we know that if we get this particular grant, we would not even look at doing the next cycle of funding for another 2 years. So this money would be awarded in 2020. We wouldn't be looking to apply until 2022 for funding. Well, we would apply in 2021 for funding in 22.
Has the auditor reviewed some of this?
She has not.
I have not.
Okay.
And this just gets in the big portion of, I don't know if you noticed, under the itemization of the water line, big cost on the water line in this particular phase is getting it underneath the creek. Directional drilling underneath the creek.
That's pretty deep through there too, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And if any of you have driven on Ohio Street, you know why Ohio Street is at the top of our priority list to basically get it reconstructed. I believe we would be throwing our money away if we just simply went in there and milled and paved. There's a lot of base failure throughout. The long-term goal is to connect the sidewalks from Martin Street all the way up to what we've already done with Ohio and East Main, connecting it to the new school. So to have curb both sides, sidewalk both sides, connect the bike path. Ultimately, that's the long-term plan, long-term goal.
What was all the barricades and everything up on Martin last week? And that's actually included.
All part of the big picture in replacing the underground infrastructure. We used our camera to camera the storm and the sanitary lines on Martin Street, knowing that we're going to be paving next year, and there was a lot of point repair that needed to be happen. And then that, I believe that sanitary line is somewhere between 18 and 20 feet deep through there, so.
I noticed tonight that paving that they replaced in those areas is real rough.
Well, that's through ODOT, isn't it? Because it is a state route coming in. It's going
ODOT will be paving, yeah, the program to pave next year will be an ODOT project, yes.
It goes from the corporation to what? To the circle?
Goes from the circle out to the corporation line, yeah.
Anything further?
Yeah, just, I guess on this is, if we're not able to make a decision this evening, on moving forward with the grant process, do we need to, when can we have a, I was just gonna ask, when can we have, do you want to wait till the next council meeting, or include this as a part of, some of our, special meetings coming up?
Well, I think, the whole thing is, as you said, it's contingent upon the grant. So if we have the figures put together, and I don't know what the ODOT and the Ohio Public Works grant request as far as audited figures, that something has to come from the auditor's office stating that, this is doable if we get the grant. Then I think it behooves us to proceed ahead to apply for the grant.
Okay.
Does anyone have any objection to applying for the grant?
Go for it.
Okay.
What kind of a deadline is there on that to get
It's in
that
August.
process?
It's due in August.
Due in
right?
August, right, yeah.
And how long will it take for us to be notified?
Oh, they won't announce the awards till later in the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You know by the first of the year whether or not you're on that list to be funded, and then the money's not released until the following, beginning of the next fiscal year, which is always July 1st.
If they pass the budget.
If they pass it, yeah. Having a little bit of difficulty with that this year.
Okay.
All right, the next topic to discuss is the South Broadway sidewalk project. And this council's already approved legislation to have Choice One move forward with the engineering, and I have a set of drawings here if anyone wants to take a look at it during the meeting or after the meeting. We're happy to share that with you. The first two items, and you see we kind of have this broken down into sections. We have the Broadway paver replacement, and then we have the side street sidewalk replacement. Those two figures, one being $338,000 and the other one the $275,000. Both of those numbers fall within the budget that we have allotted with the CIP transfer this year. So nothing is really unexpected. The question I do have for you, you see the alternate at the bottom, and there has been a lot of discussion lately with the completion of the 4th Street project on street lighting. And I would tell you again that out of pocket, without any assistance, to put street lights, what we call the Acorn street lights on 3rd, 4th, and 5th Street on both sides of Broadway. So we're talking from Sycamore to Walnut. You're looking at approximately no less than 6 lights per street, maybe as many as 9. So, you could be looking upwards of 27 fixtures at a couple $1,000s a piece. What we're proposing as an alternate bid, without doing the fixtures, is to do what we call the jack and drill, or directional boring, and go ahead and run the conduit. We wouldn't necessarily have to run the wire, but we could predetermine the location of lights that we're going to install in the future and have the conduit put in the ground now while things are tore up, So we're not coming back and tearing things up in the future if we decide to do a different style of street lighting. And you can see that that engineer's estimate for just the directional drilling is $135,000. Again, that is no electric, that is just the directional boring costs. And we have placed this as an alternate. So if or when we bid this project, the alternate or the contractor will give us a separate price for the alternate. I will bring that number to council, and then council will decide whether or not to award the alternate.
They would run conduit, is that what it is?
Yeah, we would run the conduit, keep it underneath, just underneath the ground, so that we could bust out that area, pour the new foundation, and be able to pull the wire.
But if you're going to put the conduit in when you replace the curb area or the paver area or whatever it is you're replacing, why did they have to have boring at that particular time?
So the particular areas that I'm talking about on 3rd, 4th, and 5th Street do not have pavers. Okay?
So they're only-
I believe the only place that, and I say that in tongue, the only place that may, I believe, have pavers is along the Palace. Okay, but everything else is your sidewalk.
Okay.
So
Traditional
the
concrete
sidewalk
sidewalk.
is, you're only replacing sections that are bad, not the whole sidewalk?
Correct. We're only replacing sections that are bad on 3rd, 4th, and 5th Street.
Are you going all the way to, say, Sycamore and Walnut, all the way to the corners, doing the corners?
I believe so. Yes.
Does it make sense? We seem to have had a streetscape, which was the paver project years ago, and then there was supposed to be streetscape 2 and 3 that
Never came to fruition. And it's fairly expensive, so we're trying to, again, do what we can. And if we have, if we want to move forward with that lighting, we can in the future without having to tear up sidewalk that we just poured. So if council has no objections to this project, as I presented this evening, I'd like to have legislation at the next meeting to advertise for bidding, or as directed to the safety committee, and how this project will enter or could potentially intertwine with what Cassie has presented for the Merchant House.
Kurt, on the Broadway paver replacement, there's 4-inch conduit, 6-inch conduit, and 8-inch conduit listed. What are those for?
That's storm drainage.
I'm talking about off the buildings to the curb.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
There was some talk about possibly putting in some conduit to get rid of the overhead wires for the speakers downtown too. Is that,
That has not been figured in, no.
okay?
And I know that Main Street Greenville is also, or we've had conversations about putting in conduit for uplighting at the trees. And again, it's kind of a matter of where you want to, do you want conduit for the traffic lights, or do we want conduit for the uplighting? Or do we want to do it all?
Can we have it all?
Not with what we have
Open your bill
budgeted
for.
this year. Not with what we've budgeted.
Kurt, on the stamped concrete, how long do they think that's gonna last before you have to go in and seal it? Because I know when you do like a patio, like every couple of years, you gotta go in and reseal it to keep it from popping or.
Right. And that's just, you're right, every couple years. In Salina, they chose to paint theirs. I don't know that I would paint it.
That's thick.
It sticks, but they do it every, basically every year before a festival, they're out there painting that portion of sidewalk.
you're gonna have maintenance with this then too.
Right. And, we didn't seal the pavers that are out there and see what we have. So, I mean, everything requires some form of maintenance if you want to maintain it.
What are they gonna do with the pavers? They're taking up.
We can skid them and sell them.
Thank you.
Gov deals. Oh, Lord.
Gotta ask.
A lot of pavers.
A lot of patios.
I mean, that's what I think.
Any objections to moving that project forward? Or again, in conjunction with what the Merchant House has proposed this evening, how would you like to hold off on that project?
Yeah, let's put this over with the safety committee to kind of consider, the whole picture together.
Okay, we can do that.
And then when they come back, and then we can proceed
Sure.
wherever we want to go from there.
Okay.
Okay?
Then the last thing I'm going to leave you with is just as information. Before too long, in conjunction with the Wayne Healthcare Project, there will be some traffic modifications done on Schweitzer Street. So as a portion of the hospital's project, they are rerouting a sewer line from Central, on Fair Street, from Central to Schweitzer. The sewer line is approximately 20 feet deep. So it will require, the digging in the trench will require most of the Fair Street roadway. And they will need to come out into, would be the eastbound lane of Schweitzer Street to do the tie-in. There's a manhole just right there by the fair lawn, and it's a sanitary manhole. So they'll be conducting the tie-in at that location, which will close down one lane of traffic through that intersection. So they have proposed to place one of the portable temporary traffic signals about in the location of the cell phone store. And then another traffic signal will be down about in the middle of the hospital. And those traffic signals will be tied together. And what that will do is allow traffic to pass, similar to what you see on bridges when they close one lane of a bridge at a time. That's what we'll be doing to get people through the Schweitzer Street intersection.
Will they get that done before the
The
fair?
goal is to have that completed by the fair time.
That was-
However,
are they doing
with Annie Oakley and some of the other activities that happens at the fairgrounds, we just have to work through it.
Are they gonna close down that section of Fair Street? while they do it?
Yes. That entire section of Fair Street will be shut down. Signs will go up in the neighborhood to show that it's closed. Ambulance traffic will be routed to Sherman, down to Central and back in. There'll be a road closed sign or some kind of sign that says open the ambulance traffic only, because currently that road is still open. So that's what we're going to look at. That's just as an FYI for your information, public's information, that that area is going to get congested real soon. So with that, Mr. Council President, I will pass.
Is the North Broadway project, is that on schedule pretty much?
North Broadway project is on schedule. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've there's been a lot of digging from North Main Street up towards to the traffic circle, prepping for curb, and I would hope within the next 2 weeks that we're starting to see curb go in that section as well.
Have they had any problems with traffic on that road? A lot of people going down through there, no matter if it's closed or not?
Not that I'm aware of, because they've had to maintain traffic for ambulance. Ambulance traffic still comes in off of Fair, and you can also come in off of Sherman. So that traffic pattern really hasn't changed.
Thank you.
Further questions? Anyone? Okay, thank you, sir. Moving on, Law Director, Mr. Brand.
I will pass.
Thank you. And City Auditor, Mrs. Wellman.
Thank you, President. I'd just like to thank all the department heads for their hard work on the 2020 budget process. However, but also to remind you that that was our initial budget. We will be working this fall on the final budget. So we just hit one hurdle, we'll be moving on to the next. So with that, I pass.
This is just a start, just the beginning. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. We have no committee reports to consider this evening. We have 4 pieces of legislation. Looking at, first of all, ordinance supplemental appropriations.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. This ordinance authorizes appropriations to the general fund for chemicals, laundry, and supplies pool in the amount of $2,000. These funds are needed to cover expenses in excess of budget.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Motion by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019.
Move to adopt the resolution, or the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Next, we have a transfer ordinance.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. This ordinance allows a transfer to the general fund from Office Supplies Police Department in the amount of $3,500 and from Professional Services Police Department in the amount of $1,500 to Equipment Maintenance Police Department in the amount of $5,000. This transfer is needed for impending vehicle and maintenance costs.
Move to suspend the rules and give this ordinance reading by title only for the second and third time.
Mr. Whitaker to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville. An ordinance for the transfer of funds among the appropriations of the various funds of the City of Greenville.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Next, an ordinance to suspend the enforcement of codified ordinance, chapter 828, I'll get it right, world's longest yard sale and declaring an emergency.
An ordinance to suspend enforcement of codified ordinances, Chapter 828, pertaining to the conduct of home sales from August 1st, 2019 at 12:01 a.m. through August 4th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. in connection with the conduct of the world's longest yard sale event and declaring an emergency. This ordinance suspends the enforcement of the codified ordinance, Chapter 828, pertaining to the conduct of home sales from August 1st, 2019 at 12:01 a.m. through August 4th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. for the world's longest yard sale event in order to promote and stimulate tourism and the economic vitality of the city. This ordinance has an emergency clause.
Move to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, read the ordinance by title second and third time. Discussion. Call the roll, please.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
An ordinance to suspend enforcement of codified ordinances, Chapter 828, pertaining to the conduct of home sales from August 1st, 2019 at 12:01 a.m. through August 4th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. in connection with the conduct of the world's longest yard sale event and declaring an emergency. An ordinance to suspend enforcement of codified ordinances, Chapter 828, pertaining to the conduct of home sales from August 1st, 2019 at 12:01 a.m. through August 4th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. in connection with the conduct of the world's longest yard sale event and declaring an emergency.
Move to adopt the emergency clause.
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the emergency clause. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Move to adopt this ordinance.
Motion by Mrs. Hottishell to adopt the ordinance. Discussion. Call the roll.
Hensley?
Yes.
Hottishell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Okay, Now, finally, resolution authorizing a reimbursement of a sewer lateral damage.
A resolution authorizing reimbursement of sewer lateral damage. This resolution authorizes the Safety Service Director to reimburse David Markley in the amount of $592.26 for sewer lateral damage expense incurred by him due to a city contractor drilling through the sewer lateral and pouring concrete.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this resolution and read it by title only, second and third time.
Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read the resolution by title, second and third time. Discussion? Call the roll, please.
Hensley,
Yes.
Potashell,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing reimbursement of sewer lateral damage. A resolution authorizing reimbursement of sewer lateral damage.
Move to adopt the resolution?
Motion by Mr. Rogers to adopt the resolution. Discussion? Call the roll.
Hensley,
Yes.
Potashell,
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
That concludes ordinance's resolution. Nothing under old business, one item under new business.
A letter dated June 24th, 2019. Dear Clerk, excuse me, please advise the members of council pursuant to section 452.125, the Safety Service Director and I have established a handicap parking space in front of the residence at 1114 Wayne Avenue, Greenville, Ohio. Respectfully, Chief Steve Strick.
Any items of communications?
A monthly report was received from the Income Tax Department. A Cities and Villages magazine was received from the OML for May and June of 2019. And a letter dated June 19th, 2019 was received from the Dark County General Health District regarding a septic system at 1468 Sater Street. This report, magazine, and letter was distributed to council.
Nothing further? Any other items of communication? We will call down the council, please.
Mr. Hensley,
I will pass.
Mrs. Haudashell,
Well, I just hope everybody goes out to the fairgrounds and enjoys the fireworks and be careful over the weekend. And with that, I pass.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes, echoing that, hopefully everybody has a safe 4th of July holiday and the weekend after that. And also tonight, as I was going back to my workplace, I noticed one of the silos at the Family Dollar had a hole in it, and where people could get inside for whatever reason, so I don't know what this will fall under, but whether, it falls under fire department situation or what, but anyway, I think it ought to be checked into. With that, I pass.
Mr. Schmidt.
I just wanted to bring up, earlier this afternoon, I was picking my daughter up from work and come up around the circle. There was probably about a dozen people or so out there putting the flags up. And just wanted to comment on how nice that looks when they do that and thank them publicly for doing that for us, because it really adds to the downtown, I think, when they put those flags out there. And everyone have a safe and happy 4th, and I will pass.
Mr. Whitaker.
First of all, I want to thank all those people that worked on Rotary Park and painted the walls there, just around the corner here. Really looks nice, and it's an improvement to the downtown area, no doubt. Also, like the bike path that we're diligently working on here, and the walking paths in the park. Outdoor seating downtown would be just another amenity that we can offer the city citizens that come downtown and enjoy the area, and I hope maybe even to see that and a couple other of those move forward in time. I've lived in a bunch of different areas in the country, and I've been around the country because of grandchildren I get to visit. And I notice a lot of outdoor seating at restaurants. We were just in Columbus a week ago Tuesday, and there was a lot of people eating outdoors, and it's just an enjoyable time. And I think a lot of people, once it's done, would really enjoy it and would enhance the downtown. I know Cassie's talking about adding a few more jobs even. I mean, that's just another plus from that, and something to consider. An amenity that she's willing to pay for, so. way to go. I hope we move forward with that. I really strongly recommend it, like the mayor does, and it'll be a great thing. So with that, have a great, safe 4th of July, and with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Wright?
I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. Greenville has had a lot of projects going on this year, a lot of good ideas. I really like the Merchants House, what they're proposing, and with that, I'll pass.
Mr. Godwin?
I just like to ask Kurt about a property at 216 Anderson. It was fire a few months ago. Went by the place last week, and the back of it's open. Anybody can just walk right in. Talked to somebody with the fire department about that last week, and went by again tonight to verify, and it's still the same way it was. Is there any way we can get that place taken care of?
We can address the issue.
Because it's pretty bad.
Okay.
And again, what Doug said, thank everybody for coming up, and hope everybody has a good 4th. And that'll pass.
President Burkett?
Just echoing the comment about the flags on the circle. They are quite an attractive addition. And we had kind of a unique situation, since the 4th of July is on Thursday. We can extend it over the weekend, and of course, they got a little bit of a jump on it today, which I think is really, really good. Additionally, park band started last weekend. I did miss that, but the music at the band shell will be, the 7th? Date is that? The next, whatever Sunday is. Sunday the 7th. They're having a pretty patriotic program as well, and continue celebrating the 4th of July. So hope everyone is safe and happy and does the right thing. And thank you all for your attendance. With that, I'll entertain a motion that we rise to executive session for the purpose of Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G1 and 3.
So
Motion
moved.
of Mrs. Howdenshell to do that. Call discussion. Call roll, please.
Hensley?
Yes.
Howdenshell?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
We'll stand in short recess while we shut down the TV and clear the chamber.
I don't know. Who are you?
How you doing? Good, good.
Happy 4th.
What's that? In the penalty box, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking up the parking
See you, Russ.
Just a small enough room.
Yeah, I should have.
Make sure Roxanne doesn't need
Go, Roxanne, do you need- Thank you. I should have known.
Your day's almost done. You can rest tonight, right? Did everything go okay though? See you guys later.
I don't know what goes on.
Clarence? Me?